Happy holidays, folks. Hope you're learning all those great games you bought on Black Friday. 66s to the APBA folks, and we're here to talk about decking the halls in 2023. I was going to do a wish list video, I'd been thinking about it, but it has been suggested in some quarters that some other folks might be doing something similar, and ultimately I thought, well, let's skip ahead to the New Year's portion of the show, the resolutions and our to-do list for the APBA Football Club. We got to hit on three major points here. We want to talk about some thank yous to the community. Then we want to talk about our content plans, and we want to talk about some events that we're going to be planning for 2023. First of all, what a year it's been for the tabletop gaming community, particularly some of the most creative folks out there. First of all, Paul Barone absolutely goes in our Ring of Honor for all the great fields that he's put out this year. He's even sending a set of fields to a gentleman who's in a nursing home. Just the generosity never ceases to amaze in this community. Bobby Porter is cranking out some fantastic APBA football fields, full size. He just sent us a couple for evaluation. We're going to be customizing those for Canton. Thank you, Bobby, absolute ace designer there, and runs the website, so National Card Football League. And then, of course, you got David Thren, Michigan and Trumbull. We've got one of his dice boxes tucked away over here, but he actually offered up for sale a set of 8 custom inserts for his History Maker Baseball project. 8 teams he made up, plus a little envelope of umpires, and he offered them for sale. I snapped them up in a heartbeat because the Michigan Trouble boxes are just so fun to roll in. So kudos to you gentlemen for all the work you do. I really want to let's talk about specifically the APBA football community, which is our wheelhouse, obviously the thing that got us going in 2011, and it's coming up on it'll be our 12th anniversary this January. So, the APBA Football group on Facebook is nearly 700 strong. You look at the folks in there, in particular Joe Maffa. Joe Maffa just created what I believe to be the first complete full season replay, posted in its entirety or nearly in its entirety on Facebook, his 1981 season, and he's jumped right in with his 1961 project, amazingly. And then Larry Oshinsky. Here's a guy who comes up with such great tournaments, his 60s to 80s tournament. Now he's doing 90s to 2000s, I believe. And he's always the one who's putting APBA football content right in the APBA Games Facebook group, getting football front and center all the time. Talk about getting APBA football front and center and the respect it deserves. Jason Graham, man, is just a godsend for APBA football. Kurt Roberts has just started posting some homebrew material on YouTube, and thank you for that. Always fantastic to see the methods. We talk about the mods. It's one thing to read about them, but to see mods and homebrews, entirely another matter. A Replay Gamer also getting some APBA football content and time in there, so fantastic. And then just going back to the APBA football group, Eric Marks, Scott Egie, Bob Mosher, Ken Thomas. The wealth of information that you folks are sharing and the enthusiasm is fantastic. I just love it. It's again, the thing that inspired me to even begin something like this is getting APBA football the respect it deserves. I'm even going to thank ID Jester for opening up a dialogue about the game, let's say. It's always good to hear folks chime in and discuss the game that you like and what folks see as the positives and the negatives, the pros and cons, and we in the APBA football community are certainly aware of all of that. In fact, I started a thread on BTL called Every APBA Football Mod for solo and face-to-face play, and I've been meaning to try to aggregate that. We're going to talk about content and mission in a bit here, but all the folks are contributing there. I got to thank, in particular, we got to go back to, we've talked about Mark DeGarabedian and his work. Man, just hand-keyed his master football charts and put them in a binder and sent them along for us to give a shot, try it in our playing, and I mean, that's the kind of dedication and enthusiasm that you can expect in this community. It's simply amazing. So thank you, sir. Got to thank Ryan Strauss too for getting us back in the Skype football method of play there, helping us dust the cobwebs off. We're going to get more into that in a minute. He's been trying to get the XAFL off the ground, and that's going to be a big part of what we talk about in our events section. I've got to give a huge shout out, of course, to Mr. John Herson, who's keeping APBA football alive. In 2014, he declared that to be the year of football, and he has delivered. He's delivering not only all the pro sets, but even more college football, the Super Bowl sets, fantastic stuff. And he and John Asselon are pairing on This Week in APBA, the podcast, to produce a series of APBA history episodes with Fritz Light, the former owner and president of the company, the man who succeeded the man himself, Dick Seitz. So tune into those. Eric McCloskey at the Stratomatic football page. He just created a solitaire method, an advanced solitaire method, and he's going to hold a webinar for folks, a little Zoom call. Let's move on to the events here, moving ahead to 2023 and kind of the mission for us now. Of course, we're doing our event in Canton at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in August of 2023. It will be the 10th anniversary of the first iteration of that tournament. And it's long overdue for the second tournament. Now, I see that some Strat guys are doing their 5th annual football tournament. They're going to be at CincyCon. That's going to be awesome. This is our Canton event is part of really an underlying, not so underlying, I guess, content creation mission that is trying to extend tabletop gaming outside our community of all the folks we know and love, to try to get these games maybe in the hands of folks who just haven't considered them, doing it in a gentle and positive kind of way. I was back to the theme, Deck the Halls here. In August, I was thinking, well, it's about a year to go before Canton, and I was thinking about Cooperstown. I've never been to Cooperstown, so I shot them a note on August 8th, and I asked, hey, could we maybe hold a little tabletop event at your hall? And they had some considerations. They talked about it. We talked about us. We explained ourselves because apparently they've never had a tabletop gaming tournament there, just like Canton had not. And so we've gotten the green light, and we're going to be in Cooperstown on April 1st with a very small, dedicated veteran group of APBA rollers. As soon as I got the green light, I reached out to the folks who really know baseball and actually can run this tournament. And so you have an organizing committee comprising John Cochran, who runs the Robert Henry Tournament and the Ed Zach Handbook. You've got Randy Corrier, who runs the APBA newsletter weekly and does so many other things with the community. It's a huge list. You have Roy Langens, who is still running his Game of the Day string on Between the Lines that he started in 2000. Never mind the fact the man has played for decades, as all these gentlemen have. And Don Provenzero is also part of the organizing committee. He has run the Oz League on Long Island, and he's, again, just a decades-long fixture and leader in the community. And, of course, our dear own guru and guiding light, Pete Simonelli, who goes back well before even the first 1973 APBA convention in Philadelphia, planned by Ben Weiser. Pete Simonelli was huge there, and so they're going to be there really running the show. I'm going to be there being the pesky content creator and being in everyone's face and making sure that we get a lot of content out there that I hope will help draw people to this kind of community. If they love these vintage players like, the Immaculate Reception, Mr. Franco Harris here, 50 years ago this year, and, people who are loving the history of legendary sports figures and the golden ages of sports, well, maybe content creation at these halls of fame will help draw some more eyeballs and some more consideration from folks. Maybe move a few units, as they say. Definitely would love to get to the Basketball Hall of Fame, or maybe even the Hockey Hall of Fame in beautiful Toronto. I've been past the Basketball Hall of Fame a couple times in West Springfield, but couldn't go in. Sportman Z did a great tour of the facility there. So, stay tuned for a lot of content there. On April 1st, we're going to be there, one-day tournament. as far as I know, as far as I've been told, no tabletop group has done it there at the hall in Cooperstown. I've never been to Cooperstown, even though it's not that far, so I'm really excited about it, and I hope folks are getting excited about getting out to Canton. With almost 700 folks in the APBA Football group on Facebook, I can't imagine that we can't get maybe at least the 25 minimum, maybe 50 or 100, and I hope that more groups realize that it's a really easy thing to get together. They're a little out of the way, but man, if you've if there's any place you want to roll the games with your actual heroes, and we're going to feature Hall of Fame teams, and of course in both events, it's going to be fantastic. So I hope this really opens the floodgates for other groups. We might open this up. Who knows? They get to know us, and they see that we're okay, and maybe you'll see a twice a year event, even 4 times a year event. I know Randy's got some great ideas to try to expand it, and as does everyone. So really looking forward to that, and hopefully we can show off a good time and maybe start a trend there. Part of that mission, again, is to create content that reaches out to all these, you see these groups like the Remember the AFL group on Facebook. They've got more than 10,000 fans. There's a Chicago Cardinals football history page or group on Facebook. It's more than 12,000 members strong. So, part of what we're doing with our content is trying to target, just kind of tag folks and say, hey, we're going to, play some games that, use your heroes. And this is, what's out there for you, and it's not Madden. It's not focused on today's NFL. So many, just as there have never been as many tabletop gaming pages and channels and podcasts out there, so too have there never been as many pro football history channels, pro baseball, you name it. Everyone wants to follow their favorite sports of yesteryear. Look at Goes to the Orange Bowl, the great stuff that they post, or Real-Time 60s. So much football history is being promulgated by these fan groups and the Football Learning Academy. I mean, it's just amazing. Check out the long list on our football replay resources video. So, while we've done, I think, some pretty solid work for the community of tabletop gamers, I really want to get material and folks seen outside the community, and maybe get into the civilian populace a bit, and maybe help all game companies rise all boats, something like that. So stay tuned for that. We're also going to be, irrespective of our events or aside from our events, the Pro Football Researchers Association annual conference is July 27th to 30th in Pittsburgh. Beautiful. I hope you can put your $35 toward an annual membership for these folks. If you're replaying vintage football, you may be thinking about carding some of the vintage teams, or just really want to pinpoint player usability. I can't say enough about the PFRA, obviously, and the Coffin Corner publication. And we're going to be out there July 27th to 30th at the Jury Hotel. One of the speakers wrote a book about the 63 Steelers. I mean, I'm going to bring some games. We'll play maybe 1 or 2 here, just casually, like you all do, like you've all done. Just play the game out in the open somewhere and, see what happens. See if you generate any interest. Also, earlier that month on July 1st, the Saturday, the Italian Football League is bringing American football back to America with the Italian Bowl, the 42nd championship of the Italian Football League. And we have tickets there in Toledo, $15 a ticket. You can't go wrong, $30 reserved. So, of course, there is the Glass City APBA tournament that Ron Emsch runs out there. And we're really hoping to get out there. We can handle all that travel. April 1st, July 27th to 30th, and then Canton, our event at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, August 26th, 27th. So that's the current itinerary, and we maybe would love to hit some more of the regional tournaments if we can. The Shoeless Joe Jackson by Jack Dolan would be great. A Chicagoland, would love to do that one. Randy Corrier, I mean, he's been to a lot of them lately. Slippery Rock and Wilmington, you name them. They're just all over the place. Greater Michigan, Wisconsin, Twin Cities, actually. Jim Frosch's tournament in Minnesota is going to be held the same day as our Cooperstown event, so maybe we'll do a nice, huge interstate connection, big information exchange between the two conferences. Could be cool. So let's go over to the content portion here. A lot on our plate. A lot. And that's even the small list. We're finishing up our 76 Buccaneers replay. Last game on the list is the New England Patriots. We're going to be writing that up for St. Patrick and Sports Sim Magazine. Again, talk about the thanks great thanks due to ST and his wife Jen. I mean, they're doing such amazing work, just like Digital to Dice. I mean, Ron and Dave it's amazing to see the work that they've done and the followership that they have and the leadership they have in the community. It's so awesome. So, ST in particular is looking for folks to write about APBA, particularly APBA football, any APBA game. So reach out to St. Patrick or reach out to us at APBA Football Club Original at gmail.com, and we will connect you with him. He wants APBA expertise in the magazine. Speaking of magazines, one of our major missions, an idea had floated a while back, was an idea for an APBA football journal. I might do something like that. Now, of course, we've been working on an APBA football handbook on and off. Digitally, we've been working on that. We launched it. We launched a blog for that around 2014, something like that. Folks like our dearly departed friend Denny Hodge contributed some great material there, and folks like Ron Taylor, and we have that constantly working. It could be a multi-volume experience. I think it really would be helpful to bring all the APBA football mods out in the open, just like we do with this BTL thread, try to aggregate, play test, and give folks a chance to experiment. There's so much experimentation that goes on. We'd like to illuminate that and kind of aggregate it and see who's worked on this, maybe a particular type of method, limiting long gains by linemen on kickoffs, and really refine standardize it, something like that. Or not, who knows? Just let people see in a very clear line and in a concentrated package what's going on out there. So it's funny because I've been seeing the National Electric Football Game Museum has been posting PDFs of a magazine called Kraken Plastic. They started in 2019. I guess they're on a print hiatus, but what a cool! I'll post the link here on Facebook. You can just they have a website outside of Facebook, and the Electric Football Game Museum has posted about 9 PDFs of their issues. Great issues, small, but the cover photo is a hero shot of someone with a trophy, an actual gamer. I think that would be great for APBA football or all games like that, and of course something that helps augment the whole landscape. It could happen. We'll see. I just got so many personal projects, again, with an eye toward reaching beyond the gaming community. And certainly, speaking of our anniversaries and past projects, we want to take and bring things to life. In 2013, I created and the handbook, I started analyzing an APBA team a day, doing these scouting reports. And speaking of the lowly 76 Buccaneers here, this was the April theme was cellar dwellers. The Tampa Bay Bucks actually are not the lowest pointed team in the course of APBA football history. So we want to bring some more of this to light, all this material. Now 10 years old, we want to make it a little more active. And, of course, we've got to do our video on the 72 Dolphins. The Zonka book has been duly noted and annotated here. Of course, we got something maybe planned with the Immaculate Reception book. Again, talking about people's thirst for the Immaculate Reception alone. 2 books are out, or one is out, and another one's on the way on that play. 50th anniversary. So this is really a prime time to strike and get a lot of great material out there in front of folks. Let's see. Again, I thank Ryan Strauss for reaching out and saying, hey, would you sit down and do a little tutorial or just a Skype session here, play a game, something like that. Ryan is a fantastic football thinker. A lot of great mods going to be coming from that man. And again, I really want to help him and other folks try to get some football leagues going. And the Skype method that the National Card Football League came up with, again, in 2013, it was Steve Bigfoot Meyersburg, as I recall, came up with this method well before any talk of a pandemic. And I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. And thank you, Ryan, for, again, kind of helping us remove the rust and shake off the cobwebs and get a good game going there. You know, one of the things we want to do in terms of content and outreach is to be a lot more available. If anyone wants to talk APBA football, wants to just, vent about it, I don't know, wants to play test a mod, wants to see some old cards, reach out to us at APBA Football Club Original @gmail.com, just like Eric McCloskey's doing with his advanced strat solitaire mod. I'd love to sit and talk with you. We'll set up a Facebook room, whatever works for you. Just want to be, help the community along in any way we can. Again, we want to talk about more mods. That, again, if you have mods, put them on that BTL thread. Every APBA football mod, solitaire and face-to-face. In another thread I just saw, none other than Dr. Tom Klein had done a complete set of mods dated 2020. Apparently his father, now we interviewed Tom Klein, he's done so much of the APBA golf game. Apparently his father started playing APBA football in 1958, which is the first season. The 1957 issued in 1958, and he's got this whole set of mods and, play cards and methodology. I mean, these are the kind of things that, we did our little part, just kind of doing the special, the master game down to player cards. We get a lot of thoughts about getting more defense in the game, and yes, every card in APBA football matters, and we're happy to sit down and talk to you about that, and or put you in touch with the folks like Ray Dunlap, who have created their matchup system. You've probably created your own matchup system. There's so many ways you can go with the game. So with all that said, I hope you are having a great holiday season. Like I say, I hope you're learning your Black Friday games. Speaking of that, I got to give one last shout out to Dwayne Martz. I've been really loving his channel. Followed him starting with his red, white, and blue racing videos, and he's since gone on to do the play tennis, which is really taking people by storm. As someone said, it's kind of like Al Wilson's fast drive football in terms of the level of uptake that's happened. And then Bolarama. Or Rama, what do you prefer? I don't know. I'll tell you what I prefer. I'm going to get, for the tennis game, it's going to be Steffi Graf and Martina Navratilova very soon, I hope. And speaking of red, white, and blue racing, I got this little great red, white, and blue turbo deck there, and they got college football. And thank you to Keith Apollone. And Play in general. That's another event we might try to get out to, PlayCon. Talk about a company that's doing things so very well across the board. I mean, who didn't get a nice little personalized note from Keith with your order? I mean, it's just amazing. I emailed with Keith once, and again in 2013, and just quick exchange. He said, as I recall, he had mentioned he was an APBA fan, and so, I just, what a cool dude, and great people around him, and great games, great wealthy games, doing it really right. I'll read you something out of the, really quickly here, the how-to guide for creating your own drivers and tracks. How cool is that? And to be fair, at the end of it all, with all this information in this guide, he says, I've tried my best to explain the ratings process, but the truth is creating cards for this game is more art than science. In an art class, you could give a dozen people the exact same canvas, paints, and brushes and get a dozen different paintings of the same bowl of fruit. It's the same with rating drivers and tracks for red, white, and blue racing. In many cases, there is no right or wrong rating for a driver or track, and that's okay. Wise words. You can take these games and do whatever you want with them, and that's why I'm trying to learn a lot more games. We got our strat. We got our homework cut out for us. We got our strat, old and new versions. Yeah, we still haven't picked up fast drive football yet. No, I haven't done that. We got to learn our 4th Street. We got to learn our PTG games. We got to learn our Inside Sports 5D20 football. I hear it's very mathy. Data-driven football. Ron Pizar's Resurrection of Pay Dirt. We got our good old 2nd season on tap here. So those are part of our resolutions. And I hope it's a huge, huge year for everybody. I hope you're carving out some great time toward the end of the year here to play your favorite games. And I really hope that you get to play them with the insane enthusiasm that you had when you picked them up for the first time, whether you were a kid or whenever you did. Let's really just enjoy these things and share our information like we always have been doing. But maybe look to kind of expanding the base now that it seems like a really good, interesting time with all the football and sport history channels out there, all these great projects. Maybe that's a ticket to helping expand the audience for these games. So happy playing for APBA folks. Roll 66s. Enjoy your holidays. It's always a pleasure to serve, and reach out to us with any thoughts you have at APBA Football Club Original at gmail.com.